Hello, YouTube and the Triers. Just getting some stuff ready. So Brandon should be here shortly. It's just Brandon and me tonight reviewing Kick A, Kick Butt, whatever you want to call it. What's going on, Brandon? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Yep. Sorry I'm late. There was just a giant crap storm of crap.
It's all
Giant
good, dude.
crap storm of crap. Also, we're live right now, so
Very cool. Hello, people.
I'm gonna get the show. Let's see. Where's the show here? Hey, it's like the show stream might not be working. Oh,
Whoa.
never mind. It's working.
Cool.
Okay, so get that going. Gonna share it. Triers, what'd you think of the movie? If you're watching, what score would you give it? Um, or should we get started about 2 or 3 minutes here? Also,
Okay.
Brendan, we could probably we can record now our audio.
Yep. Yep. Let me get on that.
Okay. All right, sharing the
Recording.
okay. And then the last thing is this. And then this. Whatever you want to call it. Ah, such a noob. Okay. There we go. Yeah, Triers, we usually have like 15 minutes of prep before we do the show, but
Heh.
because of some stuff I had going on at home with I got a new baby who's just under 2 months old, and he is just screaming like nobody's business. And it's also my other kids' bedtime, and I was trying to put them to bed, and they were not having it. They were not having it. They would not go to bed. So classic parenting, you know. It's just
I'm a firm believer in nurture, not nature. And my daughter, she was raised from maybe 6 months old, 4 months old. That bedtime was 7 p.m.
ah
And let me tell you, sometimes even 6:30. And that's all she ever knew. It's all she's ever known. It's just comprehension of like it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, bedtime. And it's worked wonders. It allows me to catch a break and allows me to do very productive things like podcasts.
yes. That's great, man. Yeah, those bedtimes, man.
Yeah.
Those are a glorious thing. Um okay, I need to start recording and then good to do the show.
We're gonna talk
We're
about
recording segue music.
should we do? I've always been a firm believer we need to get into some sort of segue type of music. You know,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Recording. So yeah, I don't know how to do like official like regular music, like play it through the stream. Cause that would be cool if we could have it be like full
that would be
quality
cool.
audio and stuff.
Yeah,
Um
I wonder if this. I don't know if it's gonna play through my speakers or not. It's not gonna play. So
all
we're gonna
right.
have to do it the old-fashioned way. I was thinking this is our theme song. We should definitely look into this. We need to get copyright infringements on it, but uh, here we go. Let's see. It kind of fits in with this month's theme of superhero movies.
Try again.
For those of you who are millennials and not aware of what song this is, it's an amazing show back in the 80s. it or not, it's just me. And there we go. There we
All
go.
right, that was a
Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
glorious intro.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to Try Again, a movie club. This is episode number 77. The show is all about trying old things or trying new things, old things for the first time. No, the opposite of that. Trying old things again and trying new things.
Like trying to say that correctly.
I got a new baby. I don't sleep. I gave up sleep on April 24th.
Good day.
So yeah, that's what we do. We watch a movie. We pick a movie each week, and this month we're doing a superhero month. So earlier in the month we did Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We did Wonder Woman, and this week is Kick A or Kick Butt or the other name that I'm not going to say on the show. I'm trying to keep it super duper family friendly here.
It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. Yeah. Kick Donkey. That's the movie that we watched. So yeah, for those of you tuning in live, send in what review score you might give it, and we'll talk about that on the show. So we're gonna start out with a review. Let's do what we usually do, and don't have any spoilers for the first just a couple of minutes of the show. The movie was new for Brandon.
Yeah, it was.
It's not old for me. I watched it for the first time a few years ago, so I came to the party a little bit late myself. But what'd you think, Brandon? What score would you give it, and why?
Probably a 3.5, 4.
Really?
I mean,
does everything need to be a 3.5 or 4? Must you crap on all things?
I'll just explain why. I don't think the movie knew what it wanted to be. It felt like a B movie. It felt like a college. You know, they came across $20,000. They're going to throw it together with some friends. Type of. It had that feel. There were times where it was like totally like, we're going to throw this together and we're just going to have fun with it. And then there are times it was like, no, you need to take us seriously. And then there are times it was like, we're going to be extra cheesy. And then there was times it was like, we're going to be extra dramatic. And then there are times where like, we're going to be extra gory. And I was like, just pick a theme. Just be what you want it to be. And it try to be everything. And then all at once. And sometimes in different parts. And, it was cool. I dig the idea. I thought it started off great. The first act is all about this kid who sees trouble in the world. He thinks, you know, we can do more. Anyone can be a superhero. They name drop Batman a couple of times in this, even though Batman's not in it. This is not DC. I love the Dark Horse picture. I don't know if anyone else caught that. The poster in the background.
Oh, they're having a conversation at the record store. It's like a record store, right?
Yeah, and that was awesome. It started out exactly how, okay, I'm buying it, I'm believing it, let's do this. And it has the quirky, you know, I'm a teenager, so life is weird, you know, aspect. I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And then it just goes off the rails. They try to add conspiracy to it. They try to add a lot of things to it. We'll get into the spoilers, but for me, it started off great, and then it was just all the way down. And so at the end of it, you know, for the final battle, I was like, okay, let's just get it over with. That's how I felt. I wasn't built up for the final battle. And we'll get into that in the spoilers, but that's kind of where I rate it, and that's kind of how my unspoiler review of it. I'd give it a 3.5 or so. It could have been so much better if they just would have kept the tempo, kept the pace, kept what they wanted to do in Act 1 and move it forward instead of try to be the jack of all trades in the movie. What about you? You tell me. Well, what double-digit score does it get?
I'm brokenhearted, dude. I think this movie is a masterpiece. I think it is easily, in my opinion, one of the best superhero movies ever made. I think I can see what you're saying about how it doesn't really know what it wants to be, but for me, I'm not trying to like put it in some kind of category or whatever. Yeah. I'm just going with it. And you kind of do have to ride with it to enjoy it, because you are right that like it does have dramatic moments. It does have extremely cheesy moments. Like, um, I'm kind of curious as to what Nicolas Cage's deal in the movie is. Like, was he supposed to be kind of robotic? Because some of his lines are delivered in that way, and it's like kind of like obviously cheesy, you know. But there are like really they're kind of like touching moments in it, but even those moments have like cheesy things in them at the same time. And so for me, I feel like Kick A is like a it's like a B movie pretty much. Like you were saying, I feel like I take it that way like the whole way through. Like it's pretty over the top. I mean, you have a 13, 14-year-old girl who is just a a machine, you know. She's basically Deadpool. And she's like a little kid with no powers or anything, but she's like a vigilante and she kicks all this butt. And which by itself is over the top, but then she has like purple hair and cheesy lines that she says and everything. Um, but yeah, that all that said, like for me, the package comes together very nicely, and I love B movies, and I love Kick A's like humor. I love actually really what it really comes down to is to me this movie is about Hit Girl. It's not even about Kick A. Like
You're right.
and I love her so much. Kick A is fine. I don't really feel any kind of attachment to him, but as a movie, like when Hit Girl comes in the scene, it's just I love it. Chloe Grace Moretz is just fantastic in here. I think some of the lines, even her lines, are a little bit cheesily delivered,
Yeah.
and but I really embrace it in this one.
The thing with cheese is cheese works as long as like it's built up towards the moment. Things are happening. Zoom in, say the cheese line. Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris. That's their thing. That works. That's how we understand action movies. Is cheese works if it's done right. And she stole the show. Could not agree more. It reminded me a lot of when watching Suicide Squad, which was just a dumpster fire of a movie, but Harley Quinn stole the show. She absolutely 100% became a character I was infatuated with because of the character. I thought everything about it was awesome. And Hit Girl, she does that. Except the problem with Hit Girl was, did they really have to go with a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old? That, you know, I it felt like Three Ninjas at times, or sidekicks. You know, for those who remember those from the early 90s, where you had like the three brothers who just, you know, went around and, you know, their grandpa was a ninja, so they knew how to throw punches. I mean, it felt like, okay, you know, cool. You know, you hit a grown 250-pound man and he's knocked out. All right. I know it's based off a comic. I understand that. I get that. But there is a line. There's always a line. There has to be a line because we're not seeing 5-year-olds go and do it. So there has to be a line. And that's where I was like, love the character, love the girl. She did great. She did awesome. She made the story better, but she was trying to save that movie. It felt like, in my opinion, I was getting no love out of the Kick A character at all. The guy who played it couldn't really care. They did a great job for Red Mist, McLovin. I thought he played that quirky character very, very well. Mark Strong, who's his dad, got rid of the British accent for this. Did really well. You know, he did all right, I guess you could say. But it was there were parts where maybe I'm being a little harsh. Maybe I'll raise it to a 4.5 at this point. But just because of Kick Girl, like she was the pinnacle, the best part, the reason you would want to watch it, and the reason maybe you want to watch the sequel. And but yeah, the cheese was just strong with this movie, and it was Limburger, dude. This was just big stinky cheese over and over and over and over, and I was like, just just there were some cool parts. And we'll get into that in the spoilers. But yeah, that I agree with a lot what you're saying, and I raised my score.
All right. I didn't give it a score. For me, I'm going to put this in the nines. I'm going to give it a 9.
Wow.
It, I see what you're saying. I think what it is this is a movie that's for me,
Yeah.
like the we're checking in with the triers. Jessica gives it an 8 and Brandon is wrong, she says. Smiley face.
Always.
um it just resonates with me. The whole scene where okay, well, let's get into spoilers. Let's say spoilers are okay now. So spoilers, there's this whole scene toward the end of the movie where they're doing the assault on the big bad guy's base, and they got tons of henchmen in there and everything like that. And Chloe Grace Moretz goes in there. Well, Hit Girl goes in there, and she's out of costume. She just is dressed like a little squirrel girl, and I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't seen it. But that whole scene of her, and I mean, like Brandon was saying, it's totally unrealistic, And if you don't think it's cool that a teenage girl is going to massacre a bunch of dudes, then it probably won't be your thing. But for me, it's super duper cool. And so she just goes in there and she busts out these guns and she's just pumping these guys full of lead. At one point, she runs out of bullets and she throws her gun at the guy's head and knocks him out. It's awesome. And meanwhile, you're getting Bad Reputation by Joan Jett, like blaring on the soundtrack. And to me, it's like one of the greatest superhero scenes for me. It's so satisfying to watch her. And I like it. I like how, she is really violent. She's trained by her dad, and Nicolas Cage is this weird, like, loving father / like almost looks exactly like Batman kind of a deal. I'm sure they did that on purpose.
Well, they make reference to that.
Yeah, they're talking about Batman a few times in the movie and everything. But yeah, that scene is easily my favorite scene of the movie, where with the Joan Jett and her just capping fools. So satisfying for me.
I absolutely agree. It wasn't my favorite part, but that was a key part. It was for me, it was giving the movie a heartbeat again. It was like, okay, we got over the dramatic crap of her dad dying, which was, in my opinion, one of the worst death scenes in cinematic history. One of the worst death scenes I've ever seen, ever.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. I can see where you're coming from on that. I think if you're taking it seriously, yeah. For me, I'm laughing in that scene. And maybe we're not supposed to be laughing, but I think I'm laughing along with the directors and the actors and everything, because in the scene where the dad, his character's named Big Daddy in the movie. In the scene where he's dying, he's being burned alive, and his daughter, who is Hit Girl, is saving him. She's coming in there, killing all the bad guys and rescuing him and stuff. He's being burned alive, and while he's being burned alive, he's giving her orders like, use this gun, and
the flashlight.
Dude, that's supposed to be funny, man. There is no way that's a serious thing. Like, his delivery, how he looks, that has to be a joke, man.
That was the thing. They didn't. If it was a joke, it was like one of those where it was like, I didn't know we were joking. Like, that's what I looked at it.
The best kind of joke.
It was like I didn't know this was a joke. I wasn't prepared. My mind wasn't thinking. One of the main people of the movie is about to die and is dying and is being barbecued, and we're in joke mode. Like, that's not where my brain was. My brain was like, is she gonna save him? Is what's gonna happen to him? Is he gonna get out of this? Is Kick-A gonna do something instead of just like, oh, you can't do anything? What's gonna happen? And that was really where I wanted to take it. It was one of the worst death scenes I had ever seen in cinema. I was pulling teeth, but it had some of the best parts of the movie, and I love the first person view of Hit Girl with the night vision goggles on, going through the warehouse and capping off all the henchmen, because the henchmen weren't looking, and you could see she'd get the gun like really close, and then and you'd see the blood. I wish there was more blood. The blood was like B level. It was a B movie type of blood, but I wish, but with all that being said, that was original. I love original. I love cool. I love saying we're going to do something different that you haven't seen before, and we're going to do it awesome. And there isn't a movie out there, there isn't a scene out there where we're seeing in first person night vision going through a warehouse and capping off henchmen. It's original. Yeah. It's still to this day, unless you count Hardcore Henry, still to this day, that is an amazing scene to do first person violence. I'm a huge advocate of it. I love first person shooters. Not only that, I've been advocating for decades that we need to have a first person comic hero video game. Give me Wolverine with first person, where you see the claws maybe moving like this as he's running along. Like, give me something different. Give me something that I'm going to go, that's cool. I haven't seen that before. And to me, that was the highlight of the movie, and the best part of the movie by a mile. The ending, I did like her in the ending. The ending was very, very good, but that scene alone made me go, I'm now solely interested. I love this. This is awesome. And then worst death scene I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I feel like, it just might not be your type of thing, Like,
yeah, I mean,
for me, it's like, not with every movie, but for me, I just was feeling, I watched it just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And I was really feeling, I was moving along with it. I can watch her. I mean, that scene was really cool. That scene and the ending were like easily the two best.
Oh yeah.
And for me, it wasn't just the first person, but just the idea that, she has night vision goggles and she's putting like a strobe light on them and they can't see her and she's just all over the place, very cool. And yeah, it does. It's really cheesy at the same time with Nicolas Cage yelling the lines. Yeah, but at the same time, like that didn't make the movie go down at all for me.
Well, let's look at this funny. Different though. I mean, he's being burnt to a crisp, and he's yelling out instructions. Okay, I'm gonna buy that. Now he's put out, right? Now he's simmering, and now he's dying. Now this is the death scene.
Right.
Oh, it was horrible. Oh my gosh. It was so classic Nick Cage to like try to make it something bigger and stronger, and the pause is there because he's Nick Cage. Like, it was so like, oh, just die already.
I don't
just
agree
die.
with that. I
just
think
die.
I think Nick Cage knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he was a B character in a B movie, and he's delivering an intentionally cheesy death. I think that's what's happening here. I mean, okay, look at this. Look at this. Look at Big Daddy, dude. His part of his disguise is completing his mustache and adding those two parts right there. Like, is that done to be cool? Is that just a thing to make us giggle a little bit?
I think it's to make it the lawyers so they don't sue the movie for Batman infringement. Like, Batman doesn't have the Fu Manchu, so we're still legally different characters at this point. I think that was there for.
But I think of that, like, I think that is just like 100% just to show like this is a goofy movie. This is silly, you know. There's a lot of jokes in it, and like just like the banter between Todd and what's the other kid's. My name's Todd, so I can remember the one kid's name.
Oh, I can't remember the kid with the glasses, or the
kid with the glasses, like the chubbier kid that was on The Office. Kid was hilarious. Every line was so funny.
You know me a Coke.
I thought I don't know. I think it established it, but yeah, honestly, you know what's funny though? One thing I don't agree with you on is I thought Red Mist was super lame. I could have done without him. I thought he was like too obviously cheesy. I think the rest of it had this subtleness to it, and I appreciate like the subtle cheesy humor, like the Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
like it's not in your face, like oh you know, like I think of like Big Bang Theory as like when they tell a joke, it's like this is the joke. Nobody can miss the joke. And I think of the Nicolas Cage is more like the Arrested Development. Like there's a note written on a piece of paper in the background, and you, if you're not in on it, then it's not funny to you. Or if you don't appreciate that style, then it's not funny to you. You know what I'm saying?
But you have to look at the actor who played him, and his name's escaping me at the moment. I think he has like 3 names, like some weird people
You're
do.
talking about Red Mist?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Red Mist. So he is cheese, right? And I get it. Like, and I'm totally on the same page with you because you're saying you like, you like cheddar, and I'm saying I like Monterey Jack. Like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm totally cool with that. But what I was saying is that the character that played him, I know what I'm getting out of that guy. He plays the same character in every movie. And to me, that was McLovin playing Red Mist. Like that's what it was. I knew what I was getting into. I knew how he acts. I know that he likes to personify himself with grandeur. And he loves the idea that he's more than just this scrawny little kid. And that's the type of characters that he plays. I get it. I love it. I buy it. And that's what made Red Mist work. Was Red Mist was that personification of I'm not just some gangster's, mob boss's son. I have good ideas. I can hold my own. I can be a super villain just as much as they can be a superhero. And he does it with cheese. And I liked his style of cheese. And you like the other style of cheese, and that's really cool. But that's where I thought Red Mist was like, he picked a stupid name. He went over the top on the Mustang. He went over the top on his like mask, and he went so over the top, but that's what he had to do because that's all he sees himself as. That's all the world sees him as, is just the scrawny little nerdy Moss Bob son.
Yeah.
And that's why I bought it. That's why I was like, okay, he's going the polar opposite of what the world sees him as.
Huh. I will say about Red Mist, I might not have liked his corniness in particular, but I actually really did like his the writing for him and the story of that guy, because I thought that was kind of cool that he was like the son of the guy. He wanted to get he wanted to like be bad like his dad or whatever. Yeah. He had some interesting ideas, and he was like a betrayer and stuff. He reached out as a friend. I thought that was all like really interesting, at least. Do you have anything else you'd like to bring up about the movie before we go on to our random questions?
I'll just I would, if anyone's looking for a movie where you don't have to think much, you don't have to, you can follow along. It's very, very easy to follow along, extremely easy. If you identify with these type of characters where they're quirky and cheesy, but they're doing things in life, you're gonna love this movie. But by no means, and let me tell you, don't watch like The Dark Knight and then turn this on, because you're just gonna absolutely have the worst time. Like, you're just gonna be like, okay, this is horrible. But if you're in like, hey, I got some popcorn, kids are down, let's just watch something cheesy, throw it on, you're gonna have a good time with this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely not in the vein of movies like The Dark Knight where it's really serious or whatever. It's like not.
How'd you say that? How did you say it? What word?
Oh, serious? Why so?
This was weird.
Oh,
it was weird that it's serious.
Serious.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that same like dark tone to it. It's more. I mean, it's not like Deadpool a whole bunch, but there's a lot. Like it's really violent like Deadpool. There's a good amount of humor in it like Deadpool. Yes. It's not like Deadpool you could just call Deadpool a comedy, and it like stands on its own as just a comedy. This is more of like a superhero movie with a superhero movie's amount of jokes in it.
And that's exactly what I was originally saying, because they would start as it was a B movie that turned into a drama that would turn into, no, this is a real comic book fight, real comic book things happening, and then take me seriously type of movie, big production movie, and then it would turn into just different things. And Deadpool stayed the course from the opening credits to the ending credits, stayed the course, and it just went, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, and this is what's happening. And that's where I felt like with Kick-A, that's where I was like, gosh, if they would have kept it a B movie, if they would have kept it cheap, and if they would have kept it like not trying to be a big production movie that's trying to mask itself as a B movie, because this is supposed to be no one has any superpowers at all. I wish they would have kept that type of feel to it instead of make it big production at times.
Yeah. You know what this is? Here, this is the movie, and I don't know if you're a fan of these movies, Brandon, but I would say this is the Evil Dead 2 of superhero movies.
I can 100% agree with that.
So thanks.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good analogy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you watch Evil Dead 2 and you think this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, because it's definitely not for everybody. But yeah, if you like Evil Dead 2,
oh yeah,
you've probably already seen this movie, but it's the Evil Dead 2 of superhero movies. You heard it here first. Try again podcast. Okay, let's go into our random questions. If you're just tuning into the show, you're new. Each week we ask each other just one goofy question per person hosting the show. And my question is, this movie is like a grounded movie, basically. Like nobody has powers. Yeah, there's a jetpack at the end or whatever, but
that was a little
for the most, that was a little far-fetched.
Once again, they left the B movie and they went big production.
I don't know. That was kind of B movie to me. Anyway, so this is grounded. You know, Batman kind of tries to be grounded, but then we have like other things that are not, like Hulk and Thor and everything. That's just like fantastical and everything. What superheroes do you generally prefer? You know, do you prefer the grounded ones, or do you like the more fantastical ones? What do you think?
I'm a grounded guy. Some of my top favorite, you know, I grew up loving Deadpool, grew up loving Wolverine, very grounded. Love Hulk, love Juggernaut. I know those are X-Men. I know those are Marvel guys. You know, there are your big supernatural godlike ones that are out there that I was like, okay. I feel like we as mere mortals, we don't know how to use those type of superheroes or supervillains. We don't know how to use them because we don't know, you know, beyond that. We're not scientists. We're not there. So we know the most about a grounded, real type of human. And I think that's what makes a Batman so amazing. That's what makes a Punisher so amazing. I mean, how cool is Punisher to be like, he's a vigilante who makes money off of the bad guys that he kills. And like, that's his source of revenue is taking the money from the bad guys. He doesn't make money any other way. And I was like, that's awesome. So to me, it's definitely on the grounded side. Every now and then, things are pretty cool. We talked about it last week. I loved Superman versus Zod in Man of Steel. That was awesome. But I feel like the grounded ones are usually not only the better movies, but you know, the better comics as well.
Not bad. I pretty much agree with you on all of that. Like, I always thought I liked the fantastical stuff more. I remember Steven, who used to host this show for a long time. He and I were friends as like little kids, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago almost.
Wow.
And we would get in arguments about Superman versus Batman, and he's always like, Batman's cooler. And I was like, Superman's cooler because Batman doesn't even have any powers. And I think the older I get, the more I like those grounded guys. I think I see like Punisher, like you mentioned, I see him and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's because I like the removal of criminals from society. Is I appreciate that, you know. And Punisher is like, he's not just like out murdering everybody, you know. He's like finds the worst guys and he takes them out, you know. And I like that. Um I like Batman a lot more than I did when I was a kid
Yeah.
because of that same thing. Like, it's not, he doesn't make him cooler that he doesn't have powers per se, but it makes the world more interesting to me. That like Scarecrow is kind of grounded in science a little bit, and you know, it's like you get this cool fantastical element, but it's based on a real thing. I think that's a little bit more fun for me than say like I did like the movie Doctor Strange. Um, but it's so mystical and everything like that and magical, and
Yeah.
I appreciate like that we're there's an effort at least in many of these things like Batman, for example, to ground it in science and stuff, and I appreciate that.
I'm going to take a minute. I had this. I was talking about this with a friend of mine last night, and I'm just going to take a minute on this. I feel that DC and Marvel. I feel that movies that have DC characters and the movies that are staying true to that DC character is better than any Marvel movie. Marvel is really based around look at the explosions, look at the action, look at the supernatural. And DC is more about look at the complexity, look at the evolving characters that are maybe manipulating each other, that are have secret agendas with each other. It's very complex. And if you take a look at, I'll give you an example. Look at the very two first Batmans, both Keaton and Bale. First two Batmans, they're awesome because they're about being a detective. They're about uncovering a secret plot. They're about finding out and pinpointing and connecting the dots. And then you look at the Batmans that came after it, and they just because they're like, well, we need to throw more action in there. We need to throw more explosions in there, and that's not what DC characters are really about. They're even Superman relies upon his smarts. And I feel like the best DC movies are the ones that don't try to be Marvel. And I feel like the worst DC movies are the ones that are trying to be like Marvel.
That's a great point. It's a
Suicide
great
Squad.
point, man.
Suicide Squad. They tried
Suicide
to be
Squad
Marvel.
tried to be you know,
Tried to be
Guardians of
Marvel.
the Galaxy or something like
They
that,
did.
you know.
And Galaxy is trying to be crap. Well, they do a good job. So, but that's the thing is like you're exactly right. Suicide Squad, and if you remember, and Triers, if you remember this as well too, they had to reshoot Suicide Squad scenes because after they saw what Deadpool, how successful Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy were, they reshot a lot of scenes for Suicide Squad, hopefully that it would strike a better chord with the audience. And when DC tries to be Marvel, it fails. DC needs to be DC and be its own entity. Stop trying to be like Marvel. Stop trying to shove CGI down our throats, and give us what's real and what's tangible. Give us complexity. Give us detective. Give us connect the dots. And you have a better franchise than anything in MCU right now, and anything MCU could be. And that's just my little rant. I just wanted to share.
Those are some interesting points. Those are really interesting points. Okay, what's your question for
My question
your
is
random
that
questions?
all right, and Triers, you're more than welcome to chime in as well too. What would be the worst part about being a superhero? What would be the worst part about you're a superhero? I don't care what power you have. You're Batman of some sort. What's the worst part about being a superhero?
I think it's I think it's the learning curve, you know. Like you look at Batman, you look at you know, Hit Girl, we don't really see her. We kind of come into this movie like she's already a rock star, you
Yeah,
know. She has to take a couple of bullets with the Kevlar vest on, and it's not really that big of a deal to her. You know, she's like, as long as I can have a Sunday afterwards, I'm cool, shoot me. Um but you look at Kick-A in the movie, and he just gets the crap kicked out of him. You know, you look at like a lot of the Spider-Man movies and all of these things, and with all these like origin stories of superheroes, there's this big old learning curve of them making a lot of poor decisions and learning from those. And that's, it's good that they learn from them, but I think that'd be the suckiest part, is just getting the crap kicked out of you that first few weeks on the job when you, before you get that. If I could somehow bypass that, I think I'd be much more inclined to be a superhero.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, for me, I was gonna say laundry. Like that was my very first thought, because I watching this movie, like KK, I don't get it. He's always bleeding, but he always has a clean wetsuit on. Like it just, I don't know what detergent that is, but that's pretty good stuff.
Or just bought like 100 of them.
Yeah, like and so, but no, like I guess it'd be like the menial, like the little task in life, like maybe someone a dent looks at you weird, now you're super paranoid, or the worst part's got to be like being like a human, like being just a regular person when you're not the superhero, because you have to be weak now. You have to be, you have to be vulnerable, and you have to turn that switch. And I guess that'd be horrible to just do that. I'll ask you a question real quick. Have you ever seen the movie Kill Bill 2?
No, I haven't. I will though.
No spoiler. But I will. And for you triers who've seen this, you know what I'm talking about. There's a scene where it's a monologue, and one character is talking to another character. That's as much as I'll tell you. But in this monologue, he says, "Do you know who my favorite superhero is?" And he said, "Superman." He says, "Let me tell you why. It's Batman. He tries to be bigger than life. Spider-Man, he tries to be bigger than life. He has to be strong. They have to be athletic. They have to save the day. But Bruce Wayne becomes Batman when he puts the mask on and he puts the suit on. Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man when he puts the mask on and he puts the suit on. Superman is Superman. Superman is born Superman. He is the superhero. But he chooses his mask the same way that Batman wears a mask, same way that Spider-Man wears a mask. His mask is to be Clark Kent.
Huh.
And what traits does he represent Clark Kent to be? Because Clark is the representation of the human race to Kal-El. That this is, when he looks at humans, he interprets it and turns it into Clark Kent. And Clark is weak. Clark is clumsy. He's a klutz. He's inconsistent. He is someone that is not trustworthy, not reliable, barely keeping it together. And that is how Superman looks at the human race. And I thought, man, that just blew my mind. I just love that. And I still think that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. And we'll have to put that on a future episode. But keep that in mind. Like that's how I kind of look at what's the worst part of being a superhero is like, now you have vulnerable because you have to go get milk and eggs and bread at the grocery store. You have to be normal.
You can't. Yeah, you gotta let the kids beat you up at school so you don't reveal who you
are.
All right, let's wrap it up. We talked about Kick-A. Yeah, it's a good movie if it's your thing. If B movies like Evil Dead 2 are your thing, you want to relax and watch something that's kind of goofy, kind of funny, got some action in it too. It's a good one. It's a good one for that. So next week we what are we doing next week, Brandon? Which one did we decide? We decided on
well, we're sticking with superhero movies.
Yes.
And this was a movie that when I saw Kick-A, it immediately I remembered of a movie a long time ago. It's got to be maybe 10 years old, maybe 15 years old. And it's a movie that came out quite a while ago. And it's a B movie as well. It's a B movie that's about superheroes who do end up becoming like, hey, we can do it. We can be normal men, and we can also be superheroes as well. And so it was like, oh, this made me want to watch this movie because I haven't seen it in forever. And that is called Mystery Men. So Ben Stiller, the Hank Azaria, who
no way,
Patches O'Houlihan, he's in it. There's actually a lot of really big names in it. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I haven't seen this in forever. And if we're going to watch a superhero B movie, this is what we're going to watch.
All right, Mystery Man, that's going to be on next week. And yeah, so to wrap up, thank you for tuning in. Either way, however you watch the show, remember that we're going to be live every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. So you can catch us on our Facebook page. Just search for Try Again Podcast. You can find us there every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
And cut.